I would say good morning, but it's actually 6:30 in the evening. So I will say good evening, Knicks Nation. This evening is Tuesday, February the 16th, 2021. Um, I hope you're all well. I hope you're COVID free and disease free. And a double blessing to those who work in the healthcare field, helping those who are sick. Double blessings also to those who pick up garbage, to those who deliver in this diseased environment and these dangerous weather that we're having, goods and food to cities and towns where we can go into stores and freely pick and eat and buy. Double blessings on those who risk their life on those roads. Double blessings on those who are out here trying to save boys and girls, children from sex trade operations. So there was a basketball game. In fact, over the weekend, the Knicks had 3 basketball games. They had a basketball game on Friday, they had a basketball game on Sunday, and they had a basketball game on Tuesday. And the Knicks won all 3 games. Okay, so what we're seeing now, we had talked about this many times earlier, how because of the all-star staff that Leon Rose and Scott Perry has hired, namely Tom Thibodeau, Kenny Payne, Mike Woodson, Johnny Bryant, and crew, that the Knicks would continue to get better as the season progressed. We also talked about how the New York Knicks had arguably the most difficult set schedule in opening this season, which caused many, who always hate the Knicks anyway, to predict that they would be the worst team in the league. And calling for, I think it was 22 and a half wins from Las Vegas and laughing and so on and so forth. Those of us in Knicks Nation knew better. And now, having completed 29 games in the most difficult schedule in the NBA, the Knicks stand at 14-15. Well on pace to outperform all predictions, including my own, which I predicted 31 wins, although I did say the likelihood is that they would probably outperform that. They're outperforming everyone's predictions. Where we're at right now is a part of the schedule that we were looking forward to, because after the tough beginning of the schedule, see, it all evens out at the end. I mean, even though the Knicks had all of these playoff teams they played, and a lot of them on the road to begin the season, it has to balance out. So what you're seeing now, we're in a cushy part of the schedule. I won't say cushy, but 7 games at home over the next 10 days. Okay. And with the way the Knicks are developing, as we talked about, developing week by week, getting better, what we are on the verge of seeing right here is what I'm calling the making of a buzzsaw. What is a buzzsaw? Well, literally, a buzzsaw is an instrument, a tool that is like a chainsaw in a circle, and you whatever you put up against it's going to cut. Any kind of wood you put up against it's going to split. But in the slang vernacular, a buzzsaw is a force that anything that comes up against it is going to be beaten back. Whenever, like in a boxing ring, you run into a boxer, one boxer runs into another one, that's a buzzsaw. The guy that's not the buzzsaw is in trouble. The Knicks are right now on the verge of turning into an NBA version of a buzzsaw. The only thing that has slowed them down is injuries. And we saw now Mitchell Robinson, unfortunately, on Friday in the win against Washington, broke his hand. But the Knicks really didn't miss a beat, as we thought, because even though I believe Mitchell Robinson is a very special talent, having Nerlens Noel back him up, along with Julius Randle, who also played a 5, along with now they also, since the beginning of the season, since the season began, they have signed Taj Gibson. There's plenty of backup at the 5 spot. So as we expected, because of that depth, the Knicks did not skip a beat. And so if, for example, God forbid, that Julius Randle would get hurt and miss significant time. It would hurt the Knicks, obviously, but they would still be a tough team to beat because of the development of the young players and development of the professional veterans by this all-star staff that Leon Rose has put together. Okay. But if the injury bug does not bite them, you're going to see them get better. I don't know what their record's going to be over these games that they have at home. I'm assuming over 7 games, they would win at least 4 of them. Okay. At this time, I'm giving you this video. It's 6:40 in the evening, on the 16th of February. I had a long business day today. Started my job business, responsibility started early this morning and just basically finished less than an hour ago. So I've been pretty going, and I got other stuff to do today, but that's why I'm coming late. But, at this part of the schedule, the San Antonio game, tonight is Wednesday. They were supposed to play San Antonio Saturday. They're supposed to play Orlando Wednesday in Orlando and then go to come back to the Garden on Saturday and play San Antonio. Well, that game's been postponed because San Antonio has 4 players that has tested positive for the COVID virus. And the next 3 games for San Antonio, which includes the Knicks game, have been postponed because of that. So we're not now going to play San Antonio on Saturday. That game's postponed till later in the season. We are still scheduled to play Orlando tomorrow, and we're scheduled to play, who else are they scheduled to play? They're scheduled to play Orlando tomorrow, and let's just see here, the Knicks schedule. They're scheduled to play Orlando tomorrow, and who are they playing after that? They are playing Minnesota on Sunday. Okay, Minnesota is Orlando tomorrow, Minnesota on Sunday, then Golden State, then Sacramento. Okay, now, as I said, all of those games are home games. Orlando, Minnesota, Golden State, Sacramento, Indiana. They were supposed to have another one again. This one they were supposed to play against San Antonio has been postponed. So when you include the Houston game, that's Houston, Atlanta, Minnesota, Golden State, Sacramento, and Indiana. That's 6 games at home. They play Orlando at Orlando, and they play Washington at Washington. So of the 8 games, they would have played 2 on the road and 6 at home, would have been 7. But again, the San Antonio game has been postponed. So the Knicks I'm still saying, well, they've already beaten Atlanta. They've already beaten Washington. Okay. So now, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more home games, coming up. So I'm thinking they're going to get at least 2 more of these games. They might get 3, but the way Tom Thibodeau has the Knicks prepared for every game, they're not taking any team lightly, which is, a hallmark of a playoff team, number one. Number 2, different from what we've seen of the Knicks, say, over the last 5 years, right? Just different from what we've seen. The Knicks would come in and take teams lightly or not be prepared and get run off the court by teams we thought they were going to beat. That's not the case this year. They come in, if they're getting beat, it's generally in the 3rd quarter, where they're running out of gas. Okay, and that even started, we'll talk about that in a second, but that started against Atlanta last night also. But Julius Randle went to another level yesterday. We'll talk about that in a second. But that's what will happen. Or they're in the second game of a back-to-back and they come out sluggish because they're tired. Then just what I'm saying is, if you see them not coming out like tired, it's because they're tired, because they're worn out. And sometimes they get that second win. Sometimes they get a player to carry them. Sometimes, they just come back, and sometimes they don't. But you won't see them come out unprepared. You won't see them come out unprepared against any team. They're going to be ready to play against everybody. And this is excellent. Okay. So that being the case, they're not going to take anybody lightly. So now tomorrow they got Orlando. Orlando has no point guard. They have no point guard. They're using Michael Carter-Williams as their point guard. They had Markelle Fultz. He's out until next year. He's out for the season, knee injury. And Cole Anthony's out, and I don't know how long he's out, but he's definitely out for tomorrow's game. You've already been announced to be out for tomorrow's game. So you got both of their point guards are out. Now, the Knicks should put their foot on these people's throats right here. But again, I'm counting that Tom Thibodeau's going to have him ready, because just like Atlanta, like what Clyde Frazier mentioned before the game last night, that for whatever the records, Atlanta and New York always battle. And that's true. I think it feels to me that more times than not we have beaten them, but it's always a battle. Okay. And it was a battle last night, and then the Knicks pulled away. But Orlando's the same. Evan Fournier and Terrence Ross and Vukovic are Knick killers. They're all Knick killers. All of those guys play their best against us. So even though they don't have a point guard, we cannot take them lightly, and I don't expect New York to take them lightly. Okay, and the Minnesota, lately D'Angelo Russell's been out, but I don't know if he's going to be back for the game Sunday. But Cat is back, and Cat is a Knick killer. He had from his best games against the Knicks, especially in Madison Square Garden, him coming from the New York area. So we got to be ready to crush both of these people one game at a time, starting with Orlando. Now, last night, okay, it was more than a month ago. It was actually before the season started. In fact, I kind of remember the game. I think it was a preseason game where Julius Randle only scored 11 points. And I remember doing a video telling y'all that there's a rebirth of Julius Randle, that this is not the same guy. And the reason is because I saw him passing the ball and playing defense. Okay. Now, I would have been satisfied if he just put the effort to pass the ball and play defense, even if he wasn't really successful at it, to add to his game. That would have been a whole new thing. But not only is he putting effort in, he's passing and defending at a high level, like all-star level. Okay. He is at this point going to become the second player in NBA history to average 20 and 10 with 5 assists and shoot 40% from 3 in the same season. The only other guy to do that is Larry Bird. The Joker is also on the verge of doing that. There are 3 players in NBA history that have done that. 20 points a game, 10 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game, and shoot 40% from 3. This guy's on the, he's already, look, whether they put him on the All-Star team or not, which they should, obviously. I think this is a no-brainer. He's an all-star level player. Okay. There's not 10 guys in the NBA playing better than Julius Randle right now. Not 10. Okay. He's on that level right now. This is where he's playing. He's age 26. Okay. Last night was another level. And the reason I said it, aside from it wasn't just that he scored 44, which he dropped 40. That's it. Woo, he was on last night. And it wasn't just that he hit 7 3-pointers. The Knicks in the third quarter, if you're watching the game, they started really lagging again. And I was yelling at the television asking Thibodeau to take the starters out. Leave Julius and take all the rest of them out. Take RJ out, because RJ, once he got beat on an inbounds play, he just got beat by Collins on an inbounds play. And then another time he just got beat, period. Just got beat. And it was like he wasn't even trying. It's like he was trying to conserve his energy. And I was like, take him out. And eventually Thibodeau did take him out and then put him back in at the right time to close the game, which is RJ's a closer. So I'm glad he did that. And RJ closed the game with more energy. He was gassed, right? But in that third quarter, that was the way the team was going. And not only that, the Knicks were not only playing against Atlanta, they were playing against the referees. Now, I'm not trying to be sexist, but that woman that they got refereeing that always referees the Knicks game, they need to get her out of here because she's against the Knicks. One time, Derrick Rose, was it Derrick Rose? Yeah, it was Derrick Rose guarding Trae Young with his hands behind his back, and she called the foul. And I don't know if in another life Taj messed with her and dumped her or something, but Taj couldn't even put his hands up without getting called a foul. It was ridiculous. Nerlens too. Crazy. Nerlens now. The thing about Nerlens Noel, he doesn't have great hands. Like Mitchell Robinson's got great hands. Okay, he really does. He catches passes that most guys just don't catch, and then he'll flush it, right? Nerlens is definitely not like that. He's Butterfingers for sure, right? But that rim protection he offered last night, there was at least 2 or 3 occasions that Atlanta was throwing an alley-oop and he disnulled that thing. There's no. And once Julius blew his defensive assignment, was standing in the middle of the lane as Herter was coming down the lane. He runs away from Herter. I guess he didn't see Herter coming at him, and he ran to the corner to guard somebody, left the lane wide open for a dunk. And Herter thought he had a 2-handed dunk. But Noel said, Naughty Nerlens said, no, not today. You don't. That was the end of that. Blocked him out the rim and played with 5 fouls most of the fourth quarter. So tremendous effort. But Julius, when we were losing it in the third quarter, that's when he went off. He was hitting 3-point shot after 3-point shot. That's a guy that's taking his team on his shoulders and carrying them to victory. That's the next level of starter. Okay. That's when you say, we're going to win this game today and I'm not going to let us lose. That's what Julius Randle was last night. The 44 is like once, Devin Booker scored 70 against the Celtics, right? And it was a joke because like the whole second half, the Celtics had already won the game and they were letting him shoot. And he knew it. So it was just stat padding. It wasn't like he was helping his team come back or win the game. It was definitely the epitome of empty stats, his 70-point game. But this 44 that Julius scored last night was in the heat of the battle. It's to win the game. It's like, I'm not letting us lose today. And not only was he doing that offensively, his defense was good. Like I said, he blew that one assignment, but overall, Julius was playing really good defense last night. And passing and rebounding. We saw him go to a new level. Really going to a new level, okay? And RJ comes in the fourth quarter and knocks down 2 crucial 3-pointers after he had been shooting again like Ray Charles. He comes, and you know what? Even when he first came in the game, had a wide open look from the foul line and airballed it. And usually he doesn't show any emotion. That's what I like about him too. He doesn't get up, doesn't get down. He just jogged back and he had that, focus look of it. But then you saw him like that. He was mad. He knew he threw an airball up from the foul line. Then homie came back though. Julius found him 2 3-point crucial, nail in the coffin type 3-point. So, and then of course, quickly, what can you say? He come and that's why I was concerned because I was like, when are you putting Quickly and Rose back in the game, bro? I was calling Thibodeau, come on, put Quickly and Rose back in the game, man. But he finally did, and they did what they had to do. So, the Houston game, I was just concerned with a letdown, and that's also a thing because I was concerned with a letdown after them bashed Washington on Friday. I was concerned with a letdown on Saturday night. But no, they came and did what they had to do against Houston. And that's a sign of a good team, a team that's a playoff team. You don't let no scrubby teams come in and beat you like that. And they didn't. And so here come Atlanta. Now Atlanta was missing a few key players, right? They're missing Bogdanovich. They're missing, Dunn. They're missing, Rondo. They had Gallo. And he was taking, Obi to school. I saw Thibodeau getting on Obi. Gallo was taking him to school on that 3-pointer a little bit, but that's how you learn though. That's how you learn. Gallo's a pro level shooter, man. So Obi would run, and Obi's tall and got length and everything. And he would run with his arms stretched out. Well, maybe in college that would be enough to stop somebody, but a 6'10" Gallo, he didn't even blink and he just splashed like, 3 threes in that boy's face. And Tibbs was going off. Because he didn't close out. See, a guy like Gallo, you got to use your length to get him off the line. You don't just think you're going to stop him by raising your hand. That's just practice jump shot for a guy like that. But Obi has to learn. That's how he learns. This is how you learn, man. He's a rookie, see? Got to learn. But this daggone Quickly plays like a vet. He really does. I mean, we all know he draws fouls like a veteran, like he's been in the league 5 years. Don't miss a foul shot, okay? And plays tight defense. You know, him and Maxey, we all looked at Maxey and we looked at Quickly. I didn't look at Quickly as hard as I looked at Maxey now. But Maxey's defense was like that at Kentucky last year. You know, Maxey was airtight on defense. Whoever he was guarding, you know, they was in the locker room after the game asking for him to come get the keys so he can take the cuffs off, because that boy put people on lockdown. But so does Quickly, man. Quickly puts people on lockdown. So he played, I think he scored 16 last night. He played good. So we really are. And then of course, there was a stat that MSG had put out before last night's game, that since Rose was acquired, the games that he has played, which one game was, he played against Miami. That's the game we lost, but then he played against Washington and Houston. And then before the game against Atlanta, the Knicks were plus 74. Their bench was plus 74 over the course of the 3 games. Plus 74, man. That's amazing. And so that was before last night's game. They were plus 74. So, and last night, the bench outscored, the bench was not as dominant last night in terms of, because Atlanta's bench was also rough last night. Let me see the bench points. I didn't see it right away. But Atlanta's bench was rough last night, but our bench did work anyway. Did what we had to do. But, and they beat us in points on the paint. But the key thing is last night, the thing that won us the game, the Knicks shot 50% from 3-point line while holding them to 33%. Now 33, for the Knicks, they've been holding people for 20%, but 33 is still excellent, but it's a little subpar we're used to. The Knicks held them 33 and we shot 50% from 3-point line. That was the difference in the game. We got out rebounded by them by 2 last night. But we had 22 assists, which is good, getting in the area we want. And we had but only 9 turnovers. So that was all good too. So the Knicks really are developing, as we thought. And it's a beautiful thing for us to see, right? But these next 6 games, if they break right, then it's going to turn into a problem. They're going to turn into a problem. And so they're going to become a team that not only is going to make the playoffs, but a dangerous team that nobody wants to see in the first round. That's that type of team. That's that up and coming type of team. You don't want to, you don't want them to get their nut off on you. You don't want them to, win their first round series on you. You don't even want to deal with them. And right now, as I'm talking to you on Wednesday night, February the 16th, the Knicks are the 6th seed in the East. The Knicks are the 6th seed in the East. Okay? The 6th seed. So if the playoffs were to start today, the Knicks would be playing Brooklyn. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, you'll think I'm crazy, but I like our chances against Brooklyn. Brooklyn ain't played. See, the first time we played them, we still seedling. But now, this part of the year right here, especially when we come off this homestand, they're going to run into a buzzsaw. And the defense we're playing now, I like our chances. I do. I like our chances. All right. Yeah. If that would be some series, though, wouldn't it? Brooklyn against us in New York, Brooklyn in the Madison Square Garden. That would be something else. But we got a long way to go still. But it's just good to see. So we're not 14 and 15. One more game. Tomorrow night's game will be the 30th game. Halfway point will be 36 games. But at 30 games, you got a good idea of where you're at. 30 games in, you ain't just, pie in the sky. You ain't not just, coming out the gate fast and not finishing. 30 games in pretty much tells you what kind of team you are. And if they could beat Orlando tomorrow night, they'd be 500. Okay? At 30 games in. And getting better. So I'm very excited about this. Last night was a coming out party for Julius Randle. Another coming out party. He went to another level last night. And so, this one coming up, Vukovic is an animal down low. No question about it. He's a roughneck. Okay. And he can shoot the 3. He's dropped 43 on somebody a week or so ago. He dropped 43 on somebody, a week or so ago. So it ain't no joke. right? We can't come. We got to come in here and do what we got to do in Orlando tomorrow. And this ain't gonna be no light game. It's not gonna be no easy game. But if we come and handle our business, which I expect the Knicks to do, I expect them to come out and be ready against Orlando. We're gonna be in good shape but Terrence Ross, Vukovic, and Evan Fournier are Knick killers. They play their best games against the Knicks. Those are the Knick killers on that team. Used to be when Victor Oladipo was on that team. He was also a Knick killer, but he's not there no more. So, but let's go get this win in Orlando. That's all I can say. Let's go get this win in Orlando. The Knicks are doing exactly what we thought they would do in terms of the overall season, in terms of their continued improvement under Tom Thibodeau. The only thing that's, I'm disappointed about is my boy Frank. It doesn't look like, he's coming. They announced that he'll be available against Orlando. That don't mean he's going to play. And so, it is what it is. Like I said, it's put up or shut up year. It could be that Frank, will end up on another team and end up, I think, doing better on another team than he did in New York. So it's just one of those things. But other than that, man, what can you say? The Knicks, they're playing ball. D Rose brought us to a new dimension, and it's showing, man. And we got a crew. We got a crew right now. Yeah. So let's go in Orlando and get this win. Tomorrow at 7:00, I'll probably catch the game after my Bible study at 7. My Bible says at 7 I'll be done by like 8, so I'll catch it probably at halftime, but I'll see it. And talk to y'all then. Until then, be safe out here, man. Tornado hit North Carolina. Snowstorm hit the whole country. Ice in Texas, all 234 counties under a state of emergency with ice. Mississippi had a 70-car pileup because of the ice. This is a crazy winter, so y'all be safe out there. Shalom.